Welcome to the deep dive. So India's privacy scene, it's really shifting gear, wouldn't you say, especially for IT and software folks. It's all down to this new Digital Personal Data Protection Act, the DPDP Act. The big question is, how do you actually navigate this? And not just survive, but, thrive. Today, we're looking at something key. Data Protection Impact Assessments, or DPIAs. Maybe a bit overlooked. Think of them as your first line of defense, really. Essential for mapping out privacy risks before you launch something new. Avoids those regulatory headaches and, well, protects your brand.
That's a great way to put it, your first line of defense. What's really interesting is how a DPIA changes how you even think about data. Fundamentally, it's a structured process, right? A risk assessment. You use it to figure out the impact of processing personal data on people's privacy before a product or service goes live. For Indian IT and software companies, DPIAs aren't just some box-ticking exercise. They're core to this idea of data protection by design, meaning you build privacy in right from the beginning. They help build that vital trust with users, with regulators too, and crucially, they act as your proof, your documentation if there's ever an audit. It's proactive.
Right, proactive. That makes sense. But, okay, for the people listening, how does this actually work? On the ground, we're doing a deep dive today looking at what DPIAs really mean under this new act. We've got some guides for tech companies here to help us get a handle on it quickly.
Sure. So under the DPDP Act, there isn't one specific format set in stone yet, but entities called significant data fiduciaries, think big players handling lots of sensitive data or doing high-risk stuff, they have to do DPIAs in certain cases.
Okay, like what sort of cases?
Well, for instance, if you're processing large amounts of sensitive personal data, or using new tech like AI, facial recognition, behavioral profiling, that sort of thing. It also applies if you're processing data about vulnerable people, like children, or doing cross-border data transfers. Now, the final guidelines from the Data Protection Board of India, they're expected, I think, around July 2025. But honestly, getting started with DPIAs now is a really good idea for pretty much any tech company. Don't wait.
All right, get ahead of the curve. Anticipate. Don't just react.
Right.
So, okay, say you need a DPIA. How do you actually find or evaluate those potential problems for people's data? What are the steps?
It really starts with being crystal clear about the processing activity itself. You've got to map it all out. Like, what personal data are you collecting? Who does this affect? Why are you doing it? How's it stored? Share it. Then you look at necessity and proportionality. Is collecting all this data genuinely essential for your goal? Can you maybe use less, minimize it, aggregate it, or anonymize it, perhaps? Are there less intrusive ways to get the same result?
And once you've done that mapping, that's when the risks start to become clearer.
Right, exactly. Then you dive into evaluating the risks to the individuals, the data principles. You look at how likely things are to go wrong and how bad it could be. Things like, unauthorized access, breaches, misuse, maybe even discrimination because of the processing. And that leads you directly to figuring out how to mitigate those risks.
Mitigation like?
Oh, it could be technical things, encryption, strong access controls, setting limits on how long you keep data, or it might be organizational strategies like de-identification techniques. Then you absolutely must document the whole DPIA process meticulously. Every risk you found, the safeguards you chose, any feedback you got from stakeholders, and a really critical step. Get your data protection officer, your DPO, to review and sign off before you deploy anything. Sometimes, if it's really complex or high risk, you might even need to consult with the Data Protection Board of India beforehand.
Wow. Okay, that is thorough. Sounds like quite a bit of work. For, say, an Indian software company, any practical tips? How do you embed this so it doesn't just feel like more red tape?
Yeah, good question. A key tip is to build DPIAs right into your software development lifecycle, your SDLC. Do it during the design and testing phases. That's how you really bake privacy in and make it part of the process. Using standardized templates can help too, makes it consistent. And maybe look into automation. There are privacy management tools that can track workflows. Also, very important, involve different teams. Get legal, engineering, product, compliance, all talking during the DPIA review.
Makes sense. Get everyone on the same page.
Definitely. And remember, DPIAs aren't a one-off. You need to revisit and update them if your product or process changes significantly. I heard about this CRM SaaS provider in Hyderabad, for example. They did a DPIA before launching a new predictive analytics feature. It helped them spot they were collecting too much location data, actually, so they tweaked their APIs for consent before it became an issue, saved them trouble, and boosted client trust.
That's a great example. So it really feels like DPIAs are becoming this central, almost transformative piece of India's new privacy setup under the DPDP Act. It's way beyond just ticking compliance boxes.
Absolutely. It's like Priya Menon from DevSecureTech put it. She's their chief privacy officer. She said, DPIAs under India's DPDP Act are not just about regulatory checklists. They're strategic tools for sustainable, privacy-first product development. It's a whole mindset shift, really.
A strategic tool. I like that. So thinking about our listeners, what does this all mean for your organization or just how you think about proactive data privacy?
I think the ultimate takeaway is this. When you embed DPIAs into your product lifecycle, maybe even right into your SDLC like we talked about during design and testing, you're not just ensuring compliance, you're building crucial customer trust and operational resilience, too. The goal is really to be proactive. You don't want to wait for, a knock on the door from the regulator.
A really critical element, then, for anyone navigating this changing data privacy world in India.